Have you ever gone from feeling completely fine to deeply stressed in less than 60 seconds? Nothing dramatic maybe happened, but just a thought came in. Maybe that was triggered by something like an email, a text message, a memory, a future scenario. But all of a sudden, how you feel changes. Your whole experience shifts. And that's what I want you to explore with me today, the thing worth understanding, because have you noticed how quickly your experience of life can change without anything externally changing at all? You can wake up one morning feeling optimistic, energized, clear, capable. The world feels manageable, you can shape it, go get them, let's go. But then a few thoughts can enter the system for different reasons. And all of a sudden, the exact same life can feel very heavy. The exact same relationship can feel complicated. The exact same business can feel more like pressure. So here's the question. What changed? It wasn't the facts, it wasn't reality. What changed was your experience of reality. And I think most people never really understand why that's happening or even consider why it's happening. Because here is actually what's happening. Your mind is at the center of all of this. And it's not just observing life. Your mind is generating your experience of it instantly. And until you really understand that, you're going to keep trying to fix external situations that are actually being amplified psychologically. And you lose a lot of your potential and you lose a lot of your ability to be at your best and to live, as they say, your best life. Now, what we're experiencing moment to moment, in my experience, is thought. It's interpretation of reality. It's the meaning we ascribe to something, and it's our perception. But all of that, if you really consider it, is generated from inside us. And there's something, though, that's underneath all of those different variables that is perhaps the most important thing to consider. And it's this. It's your state of mind. Because it's not just that thought creates your experience. It's that your state of mind determines the quality of thought available to you in the first place. So, for example, two people in different states of mind, maybe with the same ability, same situation, will have different thoughts, different experiences as a result about the same situation. One might see it as a threat, and the other might see it as an opportunity. And it's not because the situation is different, it's the difference in the mind they're bringing to it, that they're operating at different levels. And I think here's what makes this so easy to miss, is that your mind, which is your experience machine, it's running so quickly and so seamlessly that we mistake the experience for reality itself. And that's why one thought can change your mood instantly. Like one interpretation can change a conversation or a mood or a vibe. One fearful idea can completely alter your emotional state and put you into paralysis by analysis. The circumstances can stay the same, but your experience can shift entirely. Now, my contention is that you've probably known this already at some level. There's something in you that already understands this. It seems to be innately human. So it's not really about learning a new approach today. Really, it's more about recognizing what's already happening. Now, to help with some examples, maybe think about receiving a short text message, which is, let's say, can we talk later? That's it. So depending on who sent it to you and your state of mind as you receive it, watch what happens. Within seconds, an interpretation will appear, an emotion will appear, future scenarios will appear, your inner voice will kick off with, what's wrong? Did I do something? Is this bad news? I wonder what they want to talk to me about. Or, fill in the blanks yourself. But in that moment, your body can change, your mood changes, your whole experience shifts. Now, the external event was just 4 words on your phone, but the inner psychological experience became enormous in seconds. And so your feeling in that moment, that's not random, that's data. Because your feelings are never telling you the truth about what's going on. They're telling you about the quality of thought currently moving through your system. They're telling you about the quality of your state of mind. So it's never really what's true about the situation. It's what's true about your current state of mind. Now, as I explained in the last podcast before this, that something happened in my own life recently that brought this home in a very kind of direct way. My mother passed away, and I definitely, I suppose, expected the weight of it to land a certain way, and it did land the way I expected. But what also surprised me were there was moments where it was different than what I expected. There were moments of complete clarity. So for me, there was moments where all of the accumulated thinking, all the worry, the anticipating, the stories about what it would mean just fell away. What was left was something unexpected, something much simpler and much quieter. And it wasn't because the situation had changed. It was because my thinking had cleared. And I guess in that clearing, there was something that felt almost like peace. And it wasn't in spite of what was happening, it was alongside it. And to me, that's the experience machine of my mind pausing and showing underneath the noise something much more stable. Now, an analogy that might be helpful is to think of thought like weather moving through the sky being your mind. And some thoughts are light, and some are stormy, and some create pressure. But the mistake we often make is that we build an identity around temporary weather. We can assume, oh, this feeling defines my reality, when really it's just a passing psychological weather condition. But just like the weather, the experience changes when the conditions change. The facts don't necessarily move. Reality often doesn't shift, but internally something can lift. And then the same life can look completely different. So let me bring it to you with some questions. First one is, actually, before I do that, little plug for something else that I'm doing. I'm spending a lot of time recently over the last few months giving more content than I use on Substack. If you haven't checked it out, I'll put it in the show notes underneath this. If you like these audios, you'll definitely like some of the ideas that I'm putting out on Substack. It's very much consistent with living and leading at a higher level. So questions. First one, what does your feeling right now tell you in your life or your business or your job about the quality of the thinking that you're in? Just be open to reflecting on that. Not what it tells you about your situation, but what it tells you about your state of mind. Number two, what situation in your world right now, in your life, currently feels heavy, largely because of the meaning that your mind is adding to it? And then think about that situation and just consider what changes when you consider that you're not just experiencing life, you're thinking about something in your life. And I suppose the key point I'm making today is that your mind is continuously generating an experience of reality. So feelings aren't facts about the world, even though it seems that way. They're really signals about the thinking that you're currently in. And the more deeply that you see that you understand that, the less trapped you become inside passing thoughts, passing emotions, passing interpretations. And again, my contention is you've always known this somewhere. I think maybe what I'm hoping today, as you're listening, is that this just might trigger another moment of recognition, maybe a deeper moment of recognition to give you more clarity. Because again, usually the situation that you're in isn't the problem. And that can be hard to see, especially when certain situations just seem so tricky or challenging. But usually in my experience, the experience machine of your mind is simply running a difficult story. But stories can change. So to close out, what I'm saying in simple terms is your feelings are not a report on reality. They're a report on your thinking about your reality. That's it for this week. Ciao for now.